So let me walk around and show you what we've been working on. And as we'll go around, I'll let you know what I still need to do and my hopes for the coming year, and then also my concerns. You can see that we're putting in a fence, and there is a whole nother story behind that and the struggle that we've been going through for the past couple of months. I guess you can say we've been suffering in silence, but I will share that with you in the future. So we increased the size of the bed here. After going to England and seeing how beautiful and deep those beds were, we decided that we wanted to add at least another 8 feet. And my fear, looking at what I've done here, is the boxwoods that are here need to come out. I'll find a new home for them, but you can't even tell in here, those are roses, and they're baby roses that are less than a year old. They're bands, and I've also added a Nepeta here in the front, and of course my boxwood hedge. So what are my fears? Did I kill anything in the move, the Nepeta or the roses? And we need to prepare ourselves that with change, there's going to be some growing pains. And I know that you all are used to seeing this beautiful line of roses that head down to the water and they're mature. We're not going to have that here. These are going to be very young roses. I'm hoping for the best in the first season, but I need to prepare myself that it's not going to be the typical, bump of color that we're used to. I'll still have it down here, but it's just going to be a little bit of a growing pain. We're going to have picket fence going all the way down to the water. I have to have a fire pit, and because I have so much yard debris, it doesn't make sense for me to be bagging it and taking it to the landfill. So this is our old fire pit that my husband needs to work on today. And then we have a new fire pit that we've been using. And my hope is that we will be building that in the next 2 weeks so that it looks prettier. I really feel for people that don't have the ability to burn on their property. It's just a lot of work to be bagging things. My benches go here, and I've got a bench here as well as the opposite side. I tried to keep them out over the winter and they kept blowing over. So going forward, I'll be taking those in each season. I need to weed, and I'm going to be working on that this weekend. And, cleaning the beds, it's always so frustrating for us because if I put down fresh mulch, it only stays looking nice and clean for maybe 2 hours. And because of the surrounding pines, our beds are covered again. So it's always a battle for us. So if you remember this view down to the water, it has changed because of these beautiful star gardens that we're putting in. I call it star gardens because the star roses and plants have sponsored this bed, and they're going to be providing 100 roses to fill this area. They're going to be surrounded by boxwood around all of the beds, and then I'll have the bare roots, swaths of color filling all of the beds. And these are going to be their highly perfumed, highly petaled roses from the Scentable line. We are so excited about that and grateful for star roses and plants. And if you're not familiar with the Scentables, these are going to be varieties that you already know. You just didn't realize they were Scentables. And so that would be Bliss Parfuma and Earth Angel and Raspberry Cupcake, Princess Charlene de Monaco. So when we look at this section here, I had planned on having a bench. I've already bought the benches. They're on their way. And my husband has really pushed back that he does not want to see a bench here because of the slope of the earth. Even if we were to bring in soil and level it off, he just doesn't like the idea. So I have to give a little bit here and there when he has input so that he feels like he's contributing to our garden. So I won't be putting the benches here initially. we are buying a planter and a pedestal, and you'll see that on each one of these sides, and that will give us the ability to have seasonal color with annuals. I'm going to build the obelisks that I've shared with you in the past to give me some structure and interest. Down here, I'm probably going to move the hydrangea trees that are here for now. I'm leaving the roses that are here at the front. You might not be able to see it too well with the light, but I've got Peggy Martins and some OGRs, and I just don't feel like moving them right now. I think that I'd like to use the Peggy Martins and Nif Barnes, those babies, and get some structural interest going. I'm going to try that here in the next couple of weeks. So they're going to stay until after we get the Star Gardens in, just to give me some more time. I've got some larger shrubs here that I still need to move off for the Star Gardens. I think I've got a bridal wreath spirea, 2 limelights, lilacs, and a magnolia in here that need to move. This came down with the fence. It's going to find its way back up again. So we've talked about my fear just about, how the age of the plants and what we're going to be looking at. But we will, in the spring, go through that together, and I'll share with you what to expect. I was able to move off some roses from the river that are larger and more established, so that'll be a nice pop of color. We also added the wind chimes, which I love. That's on a 6x6 post, and my husband added the finial at the top so that it looked finished. And around that, I'm going to have Nepeta, and I'm hoping that that looks pretty. I also have a climbing clematis on the back of that. Okay, we'll keep on walking down. You can see here my the property has just been a mess putting in this fence. When you think about construction, it just leaves more mess than you expect. And so you have to prepare yourself for that as a growing pain. So as we head down here and we talk about fears, putting in a privacy fence, it's definitely a new view for us. And my fear is, the climbing roses. Have I bought enough climbing roses to make it so it's not such a hard structure? I want to soften it. And as we were preparing for the fence, I'm sure that you remember we had beautiful arborvitae lining the entire property. And through the project and getting ready for the fence, you guys, I think I lost, $3,000 worth of arborvitae. It was extensive and it was painful, and I cried just because of the loss of money, the loss of life. I hate seeing plants die, and that my view is going to be changing. So I'm hoping to be able to soften it up, add more arborvitae if I need to. But when we look at this view and what we normally expect to see, I'm encouraged that this won't be changing too much initially in the first flush. We are going to be working on a major renovation for this house, but it's going to happen after that first flush at the end of May. So I'll share that process with you in the coming year. You can see my pile of mulch. That mulch pile has not moved because I think I remember doing a video walkabout with you at the beginning of fall, and it was still there. And I had anticipated that, as these posts were going in, and we look down here and we see all of the debris in front of the post, I wanted to wait to put that mulch in because I wanted to, clean the beds and make them look finished and pretty. Well, because of what we've gone through with the fence and what I'll share with you in the future, it's had to be put on hold, that mulch. And so I will have pretty mulch to put down in the spring, but it's just been frustrating that it's been sitting there now since September, and here we are in January. Let's see. So this view will not change a lot. It looks like the guys pushed over my obelisk here, and it's been bugging me, so let's just straighten this up 1 second. What am I going to be doing? Besides weeding the beds and raking them out, it's My mind has a very difficult time planning and predicting how something is going to look while I'm dealing with all of the leaves. I don't know if it's ADH or what it is, but I just cannot focus. And so I do plan on cleaning the leaves out of the beds over the next month, and then taking a hard look at where the plants are planted, thinking about how they bloomed in the previous season and whether or not they need to move, whether I have space to add something else. So that will be in the plan. Also, here are my standards here, and they've done so well with the pipe insulation. If you're interested in having standards, it's so easy, and I did a video on how to insulate those standards, and so those will stay on until they break dormancy. All of the roses have pretty much defoliated themselves. I mean, I have a couple of leaves, but after I get the beds initially clean to look at them, I will hand defoliate the rest of the roses that haven't dropped their leaves and spray liberally on the canes, the soil, neem oil to suppress the black spot primarily. And if any bugs are overwintering, we'll take care of that too. And I'll probably do that again right before they break dormancy in March. Another project will be moving climbers that were out in the front. They'll be moving back closer to the fence line, and I've asked my husband to add additional supports, 1, 2, on each of these all the way around, because I realized that the hydrangeas still need more support. They got kind of droopy and heavy on the weight of those limelights. So that is another project. And as I'm planning my projects, oh, sorry you guys, I didn't even realize you're looking at the construction of a porta potty. Beautiful. Let's see. As I'm planning my projects between now and March, I just, I try to make a list of what I need to do each month. And so I would say there's probably 6 projects that we're working on right now. As soon as the fence pickets are up, these will move in front of the fence and have concrete pads added to them. Okay, looking down this side. So you can see that my neighbor's property on this side is fairly clean, and so we've made the decision that from that privacy post all the way forward into the front of the property, we're going to have pickets to keep the property looking open and not so closed in. But that was a tough decision for us to make, where we wanted that line to end and the privacy to start. One of the other projects that I didn't mention yet, scanning over here to where the fountain is, that's going to be shifting forward a couple of feet, and we'll have a concrete pad on it, and we're also adding electric. We're having an electrician come in and add that for us. This bed lost a beautiful red maple in the moves of getting ready for the fence, and so we purchased a beautiful white Natchez crepe myrtle for that portion, and so I'm excited to see how that does in the next season. And I'm just happy that we found a tree that was, gosh, it's 10, 12 foot in size. It was at a Lowe's clearance, and I feel like I got it for 75% off, which was wonderful. So looking down here, we've got my pretty white walkway. The white stone walkway has been destroyed through the construction, so we'll be bringing in additional rocks for that. And I'd also like to add here at the front a vinyl arbor, maybe a gate on that in the future. We've been using the metal arches, and I really love the look of them, but we found out pretty quickly that they don't withstand the elements that we have here. Our weather corrodes all metal from the salt off of the water. So I'm going to use these for as long as I can, and then slowly replace them to have non-maintenance arches. Okay, so finally, we've got my nursery here. And this is where I've been overwintering the boxwoods that are going in, the roses that are going down to the water in those pots, perennials that were not planted. So everybody's cozied in here for the winter. Is it pretty to look at? No, but it solves a purpose. So there we are. You know, I have a lot of concerns and anxiety for the next season, but I know that it's all just growing pains, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you so that as you're planning your gardens, you'll know what to expect. I'll plan on getting together with you soon and we can talk about that fence. All right, thanks so much. I'll see you in the next one.